Hello learners, and welcome once again to the Manifested e-learning platform. Today we proceed with our discussion of the topic forms of business units. In our last lesson we started discussing the sole proprietorship, which is a form of a business unit. And we say that a sole proprietorship is a business that is owned by one person. In our today's lesson, we are going to discuss three things. Number one is advantages of sole proprietorship. Number two, the disadvantages of sole proprietorship. Number three, we will also learn how to dissolve a sole proprietorship. So by the end of this lesson, we should be able to explain the advantages and the disadvantages of running a sole proprietorship, and also the ways in which a sole proprietorship can be dissolved. So the subtopic is sole proprietorship. Sole proprietorship. We start with the advantages. Advantages of sole proprietorship. The first advantage is that a sole proprietorship is easy to set up, because we say that there are few legal procedures required to set up this kind of business. So few legal, number one, few legal procedures are required to set up this kind of a business. The formation costs are lower compared to other forms of business units. Then number two, decision making. Number two is in relation to decision making. Decision making, learners, is fast, because the proprietor does not need to consult anybody in matters relating to the business, as compared to other forms of business like partnership, where one partner has to consult with other partners before a decision is made. But for the sole proprietorship, decision making is quick. All right, that's an advantage. Then number three, the third advantage is that a sole proprietor exercises direct personal control on business at all times. All right, he exercises direct personal control. There is exercise of direct personal control of the business. Control of the business, as compared to other forms like the companies. The owners do not have direct control of the business. They have to rely on the management for certain decisions to be made. But for a sole proprietor has a direct control of the business. It is that the trader enjoys profits alone. The trader enjoys, number four, enjoys profits alone. He does not share with anyone. All right, that's an advantage. If you are running a sole proprietorship, when you make profits, then you enjoy the profits alone. You don't need to share the profits. Then point number five, another advantage is that the trader can get assistance from family members. He can easily get assistance from the family members. He can get assistance from family members, assistance from family members. That is, can get free labor. right? Does not need to pay the family members as opposed to other forms of business. If you are to get other people coming to work for the business, then you have to pay. So it's an advantage. You can easily convince family members to help in running the business. Another point, we can say the owner works to his or her best because he or she is accountable to himself or herself. All right? That means you are a boss, your own boss, being your own boss. So when you are your own boss, then you can work to your best, knowing that you will enjoy the profits alone. Another point is that sole proprietorship business is more flexible. The business is flexible. Flexibility. And this flexibility is an advantage because the owner can, due to the fact that the owner does not consult anyone in making decisions. He can easily even change the kind of products he's selling, the services he's selling. He can easily adjust. He can change the location without much inflexibility. He does not need to consult. He can decide on changing the nature of the business very easily. It's very flexible. Another advantage is number 7. I've mentioned 2 without writing. Number 7 is the owner has control over business secrets. So I can say control over business secrets. Control over business secrets. The sole proprietor is able to maintain top secrets of the business operations, as opposed to these other forms of business where there are many who have access to business or trade secrets. Confidentiality can easily be maintained when running a sole proprietorship as compared to the other forms of business. There are other points like which I have not mentioned, like small capital is required, small capital requirement to start and run the business. There is small amount of capital, number 8, small amount of capital is required to start and run a sole proprietorship. So these are advantages. Let us now discuss the advantages, the disadvantages of sole proprietorship. First disadvantage is limited life. The life of a sole proprietorship is limited because that life is tied to the life of the sole trader. In case the sole trader becomes sick or dies or becomes insane, then that business will come to an end. It will be limited. So that is a disadvantage. Then number 2 is limited capital. Given that the sole trader is the sole trader or the owner, the capital to start and run the business, the responsibility to raise capital and run, to raise capital for starting and running the business rests with the owner, then this kind of business will have limited capital because the owner may have limited sources of capital. Number 1 is a loan. Number 2, he may not have access to certain sources of capital. So his sources or her sources are limited to his resources. Okay, his sources of capital are limited to his resources that are available to him or to her. So that is a disadvantage. Then number 3 is unlimited liability. Unlimited liability. Sole proprietorship has unlimited liability. This means that if the assets available in the business are not enough to pay all the business debts, then the personal property of the owner, such as his house, his land, and so on, may be sold to pay the debts. Okay? So it has unlimited liability. The liability of the business is not limited to the business. In case the business is unable to raise assets to pay off debts, then the personal resources or wealth or assets of the owner will be sold to pay off the debts of the business. So that is a disadvantage as compared to these other forms of business like company. The liability of a company is limited to the shares contributed by the members. So that's a very big distinction between sole proprietorship and limited companies. Number 4 is suffering losses. In the event that the business incurs losses, then these losses are borne by the owner himself or herself. Just the same way he enjoys the profits. In case there are losses, then the losses are borne or they are borne by the owner, or the owner bears. All right, the owner pays for the losses. That is another disadvantage. Then number 5 is lack of consultation. Lack of consultation is a disadvantage. Lack of consultation may lead to poor decision making. Remember, we said here that as an advantage, the owner does not need to consult anyone. Failing to consult, as much as it may sound good, may also be disadvantageous, because consulting, when you consult, you get to have different views. People will give you a different picture from the one you have. Other people may give you ideas that you may not have. So when you make decisions without consultation, then you are likely to make poor decisions, and that may adversely affect the performance of the business. All right? So that is a disadvantage. Then another disadvantage is that if a sole trader falls sick, the business may experience difficulties due to lack of adequate management. All right? Where the sole trader is not present, he may be sick or he may have traveled, that will affect the normal operations of the business. The normal operations of the business. 6 is lack of essential skills. Lack of essential skills. The owner may lack some essential skills like management skills. The owner may not have management skills, as opposed to companies where the owners employ skilled managers with expertise on how to run companies. But as an individual, one individual may not have all the skills. He may have management skills but not have accounting skills. Or he may have accounting skills but lack marketing skills. He may have marketing skills but lack communication skills. So the owner at some point may lack some essential skills that are necessary to run the business. That is a disadvantage of running a sole proprietorship. Then, candidates, lastly, we're going to discuss how the dissolution, how sole proprietorships may be dissolved. That is dissolution of sole proprietorships. Sole proprietorship. Dissolution. Dissolution of sole proprietorships. What is dissolution? Dissolution refers to the termination of the legal life of a business. The termination of legal life of a business. It means bringing a business to an end. And I'm going to discuss some of the circumstances under which a sole proprietorship may be dissolved. Number one, the first circumstance, number one, is death or insanity of the sole proprietor, where the trader dies or becomes insane or of unsound mind, then a sole proprietorship is deemed to be dissolved. Number two is transfer of the business to another person. When the business is transferred to the other person, that means that the obligations and the rights of the business shifts from the original owner of the business to the new owner of the business. So the old business is said to be dissolved. Number three is bankruptcy. Bankruptcy of the owner. When the owner is declared bankrupt, and bankruptcy is normally declared by the courts. This is a position where bankruptcy is where the owner is not able to run the business, is not able to pay the debts of the business as and when they fall due, where the assets of the business are less than the liabilities of the business, and the business is not able to pay debts, then the courts can declare such an individual bankrupt. And when the sole trader is declared bankrupt, then the business is said to be dissolved. Then point number four is owner, you can say owner voluntarily deciding to dissolve the business. Just the same way the owner decided to start the business, that owner can also, at any point in time, if he or she wishes, can dissolve the business voluntarily, okay? And this may be due to many reasons. If the owner feels that the business is consistently making losses, then there is no point of continuing running the business. He can terminate the life of the business. Or the owner may be just tired, or he may decide, or she may decide to retire. So that is another circumstance that may lead to the dissolution of a sole proprietorship. Number five is passing of law. Passing of law. Let me say, which renders passing of law, which renders the activities of the business, renders the activities of the business illegal. If you are a trader is engaged in the sale of certain goods and services, and the government passes the law which prohibits the buying and selling of such goods, then that business will automatically be dissolved, because individuals are not legally required to engage in the trade of goods or services that are illegal. If you are selling a product, like say raw milk, and the government prohibits the sale of raw milk, then that business will be declared illegal, and as such, the business will be said to be dissolved. So the passing of law which renders the activities of the business illegal. It can be services, right? If you are running, say, a private school, and the government passes law that there will be no private schools in a certain area of the country, then that business will be dissolved, because the law, with the passage of the law, the business becomes illegal, and if it is illegal, then that business will be dissolved. Then number 6, expiry. You can say expiry of the period. Expiry of the period during which the business was meant to operate. If the owner has started the business and he had an expiry date on when the business is supposed to end, then upon the expiry of that period, then that business will automatically be dissolved or terminated. So these are some of the circumstances that may lead to dissolution of a sole proprietorship. So learners, that will mark the end of our today's lesson, where we have discussed the advantages of a sole proprietorship, the disadvantages of a sole proprietorship, and the circumstances that may lead to the dissolution of a sole proprietorship. And before we take a break, I'm going to give you assignment. This will be your assignment. Assignment. Just one. Discuss 4 features of a sole proprietorship. Discuss 4 features of a sole proprietorship. Make sure the assignment is done. Thank you for being attentive. In our next lesson, we'll continue studying the topic forms of business units. Bye-bye.